Yeah. Well, why have insurance?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
There's this show.
They look
Yeah.
on city
As soon as you file a
better
claim,
than city
they have to
hall.
have insurance.
Watching
What
the
the heck
same
do you
paper.
have insurance for?
So it's on the old-fashioned, the old movies. That's what I think I watch.
But some of those are good.
Yeah, I love those. Yeah, I do. I love them too. Yeah.
But can I just do some announcements first? All right. So, I want to welcome you all. This is part of our fall lecture series here at the museum. And as you know, we chronicle Michigan in the defense of democracy. So we do everything Michigan made, World War I to the present. Speaking of World War I, that is the exhibit that we will be closing today. So we're so happy that you could be here to see the exhibit one last time. As some of you know, we are working on our expansion and facade improvement program. So if anyone would like to donate to that, please see Chris or I, and we would be happy to make you a donor of our museum. So some of our upcoming events are on August, I apologize, on October 15th, this room will be transformed and we will have our first national traveling exhibit. That would be the Argus Camera Company, and they are actually driving their exhibit now from California. And this exhibit will be in conjunction with their national conference as well. So that's a very exciting accomplishment for our museum. On October 29th, we will be doing the G3 Paradox, where we'll be discussing World War I mustard gas production in Michigan. On November 5th, the Forsaken Angels, the personnel of the Chicago Northwestern University Unit, U.S. Army Base 12, again from World War I. And then November 12th will be the Music of World War II, a presentation by a local scholar. And December 3rd, Rosie, a Detroit Her Story, a presentation by the author. So the last thing I wanted to mention is that we are now officially part of the Motor City's passport program, and that is a program where you can go to a variety of museums and you get your passport stamped, and then you get some prizes. So on the way out, if you'd like to get your passport and get it stamped, just see us in the office. And we still don't have our main person, but when we do, this will be the dugouts. Talking about the music, the times, the men, and the lives of the Great War. So again, very happy that you could come out for this. Thank you. And we'll be starting soon.
As soon as Paul gets here.
While we're waiting, I can play for you a little bit.
Here's a tune that you'll recognize.
Oh, can I just make one more last comment?
No, I'm sorry.
I'm really horrible at this. I want to thank Joseph and Scott. They are volunteers that are doing, that are here volunteering to document this, so that we can get it out to the people who weren't able to come. So I do want to thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Well, here's a tune that you'll recognize. This is called Ashokan Farewell. Ken Burns used this for his Civil War series. It's written about 30-some years ago by Jay Younger from upstate New York. Paul might have got stuck in the bathroom. It's happened before. He's pushing the door and it says pull. Okay. All right, after much discussion, we've come up with another one here. This is an Irish air called the South Wind on Anamagulf. Comes from County Mayo. I won't sing it because I don't know all the words, but
It's a lovely tune.
it's a
Anyway.
beautiful tune. Southwind. Hold it.
Are we downhearted? No! So let your voices ring and all together sing. Are we downhearted? No! Not while Britannia rules the waves, not likely. While we have Tommy on the land and Johnny on the sea, we will not fret. It's a long, long way to Tipperary, but we're not downhearted yet. Are we downhearted? No! Then let your voices ring and all together sing. Are we downhearted? No! Not while Britannia rules the waves, not likely. While we have Jack upon the sea and Tommy on the land, we will not fret. It's a long, long way to Tipperary, but we're not downhearted yet.
With that grand entrance, here he is, Sir Flanders himself.
Yeah, thank you. Sorry for a little bit tardy there. So, tardy Flanders. So, we welcome you. We are the Dugouts, and we welcome you to our Great War Tribute program, where we will be singing you through the conflict. And we shall do a little bit of history as we go along. So, but first we're going to start off with a tune that just pretty much spells out the whole conflict right off the bat. And it's very clever, points out a lot of fun stuff. But if you have questions about the tune later on, ask us, because we'd like to get as much music in here as we possibly can. All right, this is called Belgium Put the Kibosh on the Kaiser.
It's an American Civil War tune.
silly German sausage shred Napoleon he'd be. Then he went and broke his promise, it was made in Germany. He shook hands with Britannia, and through the peace he swore. This naughty boy, he promised peace while he prepared for war. He went to Serbia to serve his dirty tricks, but naughty nights at Liège went to accept this dirty dip. His label belonging in Paris, you stop. But he shouted, first up Paris, but he hasn't got there yet. Cause Belgium put the kibosh on the Kaiser. Europe took the stick and made him sore. On his throne it hurts to sit, and when John Bull starts to hit, he will never sit upon him anymore. For Belgium put the kibosh on the Kaiser. Europe took the stick and made him sore. Now he's laid it in the woods. We won't buy his German goods. He won't give his lager anymore. His warship sailed upon the sea. They looked a pretty sight, but when they heard the bulldog bark, they disappeared from sight. The Kaiser said, be careful, if I jello cold their sea, then every man of war I have shall be a submarine. We chased his ship to Turkey and the Kaiser startled stood. He scratched his head and said, don't shoot, you see I'm touching wood. Then Turkey bought his warships just to aid the German plot. Be careful, Mr. Turkey, or you'll do the turkey trot. Belgium put the kibosh on the Kaiser. Europe took the stick and made him sore. And if Turkey makes a stand, she'll get Turkey and Japan, and it won't be hot the Kaiser anymore. He'll have to go to school again and learn his geography. He quite forgot Britannia and the hands across the sea. Australia and Canada, the Russians and the Jap, and England looked so small he could not see her on the map. Well, Ireland settled, England settled, he said, I'll settle John. But he did not know the Irish like he knew them later on. So the Kaiser stirred the lion, please excuse him for the crime. His lunatic attendant was not with him at the time. For Belgium put the kibosh on the Kaiser. The Europe took the stick and made him sore. We should shout with victory's joy, hold your hand out, naughty boy. You must never play at soldiers anymore. For Belgium put the kibosh on the Kaiser. The Europe took the stick and made him sore. And when John Bull starts to sit, and when John Bull starts to hit, he will never sit upon him anymore. Everybody! Rule Britannia, Britannia rules the waves. Britons never, never, never shall be slaves. Rule Britannia, Britannia rules the waves. Britons never, never, never shall be slaves. There we go. Paid good money for that flag, so it's going to get shown. All right, we thank you for that warm welcome. I would like to introduce you to our music director. It is Lady Marilyn Potling. And the man in the voice, the legend that is Thomas Paddy Dooley.
No relation to Tom Dooley who got hanged, but I came out before the song. A lot of people say, your name is Tom Dooley? I said, yeah. Were you named after the song? No. I showed up 4 years before the song came.
But he does work on the railroad.
I did. Retired, thank God. Okay, well, this next song is one you all know. Join us on singing this one. There's about 900 verses of it, and we found the 3 that weren't dirty. And it was originally a French tune written in the 1830s, sung by soldiers, French soldiers, and then it was resurrected in the Franco-Prussian War, 1870s. And then in 1914, the English and Canadians kind of threw their own words in, and the Americans threw their own words in and all that. So it's called Mademoiselle from Armentières. Mademoiselle Marmotier, parlez-vous? Mademoiselle Marmotier, parlez-vous? Mademoiselle Marmotier hasn't been kissed in 40 years. Inky dinky, parlez-vous? Mademoiselle from Gavery, parlez-vous? Mademoiselle from Gavery, parlez-vous? Mademoiselle from Gavery, kissing soldiers 1, 2, 3. Inky dinky, parlez-vous? Mademoiselle from Armitiers, parlez-vous? Mademoiselle from Armitiers, parlez-vous? On herself the croix de guerre for washing soldiers' underwear. Inky dinky, parlez-vous? There you have it.
Now let's see how we do it.
Push the button. Poussez les boutons, s'il vous plaît. This next song is the French national anthem, so any French civilians must stand up here. Marilyn sings this. She learned it in, what, 6th grade or so.
The French class.
My German is like I speak French like a German.
And we have no sound.
Oh,
Would we turn it up?
Okay,
There we go.
start over the magical.
Le jour de Paris est arrivé, comme de l'eau de la tyrannie, les standards sanglants élevés, les teneurs sanglants élevés. Attendez-vous dans les campagnes, rougir ces féroces soldats. Ils viennent jusque dans nos bras, égorger nos fils, nos campagnes. Bonjour, mes citoyens, formez vos bataillons.
Marchons, marchons, que s'aime abreuver nos sillons. All right. Well, this next song was,
Does anybody have any water out there on them? I just need a little bit. Does
for
anybody have
when
a
it
bottle
comes
of
to
water?
slaughter, you'll do your work on water. And you'll lick the
Just get a little bit.
bloomin' boots at him what's got it. Don't get in. All right. This next song was written in 1917 by Lady Marjorie Fraser Kennedy, Scott. And it was written to kind of bolster the recruitment of the Scots from the Western Isles. They didn't want those lads out there, you know, laying around doing nothing. They wanted them all to come and join the service. So this is called The Road to the Isles, The Road to the Isles.
Thank you, sir.
Sir went to love and like Rannoch and like Heber I will go by other tracks we have in their wilds. If it's sinking in your inner heart, the braggart in my step, he never felt the tangle of the isles. Oh, the fire cool and Sir Paul of me, as the highway might go my tiny isles. Was by Shield water, the track is to the west, by Albion and by Moor are to the sea. It's the cool cresses I am thinking more from Block and Bracken for a wink and Mother's Knee. Sure, by Tunnel and like Rannoch and like Heber I will go, by other tracks we have and in their way. singing in your inner heart. The braggarts in my step, he never smoked the tangle of the aisles. Oh, the Farklands are for the love of me, as to my wee back home at the Isles. Oh, the blue islands are pulling me over there, like the butts a leaf upon the lane. Oh, the blue islands on the scary state of news, we have their honey taste upon the chain. Sure, by Tumble and like Rennick and like Eber I will go, by other tracks we haven't in their isles. If it's sinking in your inner heart, the braggarts in my step, ye never split the tangle of the Isles. Oh, the Farklands are for the love of me, as the highway may go, I pay the Isles. Thank you, the road to the Isles.
Oh, thank you very much.
Well, this next song is, oh, water.
Yeah. Anybody have a juice? Just one, two. Water. Now, a bit about that last tune. It was a propaganda tune. And so much of what we were going to play for you here today are propaganda tunes. Tunes designed to keep the spirit up of not only the soldiers at the front, but also at home, because things were dreary on both fronts. So we sing a lot of tunes. Most of our tunes will be coming from the music hall, which the music hall was yesterday's social media. That's where you got your news, that's where you got your satire, that's where you got the entertainment, because there were not too many other outlets. Nobody had iPhones back then, thankfully. But anyhow, so most of our content is from the music hall. We do a lot of trench tunes, cleaned up. And then we'll do a lot of the other, well, that's pretty much it. From the trenches, the music hall, and that's it. I think we got that pretty much covered.
Yes, so.
And we also have an aficionado of propaganda in music, Miss Kathy Kircher. So,
She's a
was that your PhD?
propagandist.
That was the master's thesis that never got finished.
Well, there you have it. Someday. But
Ran out
anyway,
of money.
Tom is going to sing an incredible tune.
This was a poem actually written on May 3rd, 1915 by Lieutenant Colonel John McCrae of the 1st Canadian Artillery. He was from Guelph, Ontario. And yeah, Guelph, it's about that big. And he wrote this after officiating at the funeral of his close friend Alexis Helmer. Alexis died from exposure to chlorine gas during the Second Battle of Ypres, where gas was first used against the Canadian and French troops and also French colonial troops. The French colonial troops deserted and ran, and the French and the Canadians held the line for 17 days. John was from Guelph, I already said that, was a veteran of the Boer War and a staunch supporter of the English Empire. He was a surgeon, but he opted to be a gunner and a field medical officer rather than part of the medical corps. He, later in the war, did join the medical corps, and he died of cerebral meningitis in June 1918. And he wrote this poem, and supposedly threw it away after writing it, but it was retrieved by one of his orderlies, and the orderly said, "This is really good, polish it up." So he did, and he sent it to a magazine, and it was rejected. So later on, though, it became one of the most famous poems of the war. It's been put to music many times, and the version that I do, this music is close to what Eric Bogle, who is an Australian singer-songwriter, put this poem to. And poppies, talks about the poppies in Flanders Fields. I was actually at this site 2 years ago, and it's quite a touching place. And poppies are a weed that grow in acidic soil, and they use quicklime to dissolve the bodies. And that's why the poppies grew so profusely. So it's called In Flanders Fields. In Flanders Fields, the poppies blow between the crosses, row on row, that mark our place, while in the sky the lark still bravely singing fly, scarce heard amid the guns below. We are the dead, short days ago we lived till dawn, watch sunsets glow, loved and were loved, and now we lie in Flanders Fields. Take up our quarrel with the foe, to you from Thaleen, hands we throw, the torch be yours, to hold it high. Break faith with us who die, we shall not sleep though poppies grow in Flanders Fields. We shall not sleep though poppies grow in Flanders Fields. Thank you, Flanders Fields. I went there thinking, I took a tour of Flanders Fields, obviously, and it was a 13-hour tour out of Brussels, and it's quite interesting. I always thought, Flanders Fields, well, how big is it? Well, it's 200 kilometers by 160 kilometers. It's all around the village of Ypres. And it was surrounded on three sides by the Germans from October 1914 all the way towards the end of the war. And it never fell. The Germans never got into Ypres, but they shelled it and blew the crap out of it. And it was the scene of, there's 5 major battles at Ypres, and the third one was Passchendaele, of course, that everyone knows about. So here's another song, another happy song. This one you'll recognize.
They do get happier.
Oh, yeah, just not this one. This one was written by an American named John Howard Payne. He was quite an interesting guy. He was born in New York City in 1792, and he died penniless in Tunis, Algeria, in 1852. And he was orphaned at the age of 13, and afterwards he never knew what it meant to have a home. And he became an actor at the age of 17 and spent some years on the stage in London, England, where he had some success. And he wrote an operetta called Clary, the Maid of Milan, which is largely forgotten today, but this one song came from it and became a favorite, especially among soldiers. And a German army band actually serenaded the British Tommies with this tune in Christmas 1914 at the Christmas truce. And actually you'll hear this tune if you listen very carefully to The Wizard of Oz. It plays in the background. It's called Home Sweet Home.
Be it pleasures and palaces, though I may roam, be it ever so humble, there's no place like home. A charm from the sky seems to hallow us there. See through the world is there met with elsewhere. Home, sweet home. There's no place like home. An exile from home, spent thousands in vain. Oh, give me my lonely thatched cottage again. The birds singing gaily that come to my call. Give me them that peace of mind, dearer than all. Home, sweet home. There's no place like home. Be it ever so humble, there's no place like home.
Very nice, thank you. Okay, thank you.
So now we are going to have a peppy tune. Imagine. So this was a good peppy tune that was needed because there was way too much dying going on, and they needed to appease the civilian population in their opinions. And I don't think this was a Cortland and Jeffries tune. Do we remember who did this one originally? All right, I'm just going to blame it on them.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll just blame it on Cortland and Jeffries, who are a wonderful songwriting duo that came up with many of the popular tunes of the day. This is a great little one. I would like to introduce you to our pianist. Now, who was it that invented the phonograph?
Edison?
Mr. Edison? Mr. Edison came up with this funny thing called a wax recording cylinder or something. I don't know where he's going to go with it, but via the inventions of modern technology, we are able to actually record things and actually play it back for you. So here's a little updated version of a wax cylinder, and I'd like to introduce you to our pianist, Lois Karras, and she's going to play this for us.
She lives in that little thing right there.
We'll start from the beginning.
All right.
Brother Betty went away to do his bit the other day, with a smile on his lips and his lieutenant's pips upon his shoulders, bright and gay. As the train moved out, he said, "Remember me to all the birds." And as he wagged his paw and went away to war, shouting out these pathetic words: "Goodbye, goodbye, wipe the tear, baby dear, from your eye. Though it's hard to part, I know I'll be tickled to death to go. Don't cry, don't sigh, there's a silver lining in the sky. One swallow thing, cheerio, chin chin, nap-oo, toodaloo, goodbye, goodbye, goodbye. Wipe the tear, baby dear, from your eye. Though it's hard to part, I know I'll be tickled to death to go. Don't cry, don't sigh, There's a silver lining in the sky. Bonsoir, old thing, cheerio, chin chin, now toodaloo, goodbye. Little Private Patrick Shaw, he was a prisoner of war, till a hunt with a gun called the Big Dog for fun, and Paddy punched him in the jaw. Right across the barbed wire fence, the German dropped and said, "Oh dear," as the wire gave way and Paddy yelled, "Hooray," as he ran for the Dutch frontier. Goodbye, goodbye, wipe the tear, baby dear, from your eye. Though it's hard to part, I know I'll be till the death to go. Don't cry, don't sigh, there's a silver lining in the sky. Bonsoir, old thing, cheerio, chin chin, now toodaloo, goodbye, goodbye, goodbye. Wipe the tear, baby dear, from your eye. Though it's hard to part, I know I'll be tickled to death to go. Don't cry, don't sigh, there's a silver lining in the sky. Bonsoir, old thing, cheerio, chin chin, now toodaloo, goodbye. Thank you, those guys. Now, as promised, we'd bring you something from the trench.
Mud.
Mud, indeed. A needed element of the war, mud. So, now, many trench tunes were like shanties, and when you needed to get a message down the line that maybe upper command maybe did not approve of, you sang about it, and it just kept going on down the line and adding verses as it went. So we found an old tune here, and found 3 clean verses. All the rest are none. So, and it's called The Old Barbed Wire. Goes like this. If you want to find the sergeant, I know where he is. I know where he is. I know where he is. If you want to find the sergeant, I know where he is. He's lying on the canteen floor. I've seen him, lying on the canteen floor. I've seen him lying on the canteen floor. If you want to find the CO, I know where he is. I know where he is. I know where he is. If you want to find the CO, I know where he is. He's down in the deep dugout. I've seen him, down in the deep dugout. I've seen him down in the deep dugout. If you want to find the old battalion, I know where they are. I know where they are. I know where they are. If you want to find the old battalion, I know where they are. They're hanging on the old barbed wire. I've seen him, hanging on the old barbed wire. I've seen him hanging on the old barbed wire. Now, for sure, they probably didn't have a drum like that in the trench, but it is pretty surprising how many musical instruments and phonographs, pianos, that they really did have hidden away and were sent from home to keep the guys entertained. But they did have quite a few instruments at their disposal. And with that, we are going to sing a tune about a very prominent figure. His name is Charlie Chaplin. Let's see here. What I should move first. Do-do-do-do-do-do. All right. Always too many wires.
Indeed.
And by the way, Chris, there are some things on the counter over here that the lady needs who just came in. Right back there on the counter. Yep. All right, so Charlie Chaplin was obviously the most important entertainer of the time. And no one really knew what why he was not enlisted or if he even wanted to enlist, but he was certainly the most important entertainer of the time. This is called Now the Moon Shines Bright on Charlie Chaplin.
Harmonium. You don't see them very often anymore, and he actually bought that just recently.
There's probably a good reason you don't see these things anymore. But I have two of them.
They wound up with accordions and banjos and Never Land.
I call it my nerdy-gurdy. All right. Now we have another popular tune. Yes. And with our chronological
Pianist. Yes.
And I got the wrong tune. There you go.
Ah.
We're not going to play Marching Through Georgia.
No, that would be a distraction. This is called Take Me Back to Dear Old Blighty. Blighty was one of the nicknames of England. And when you got a wound that would send you home, that was a blighty. I got me a blighty. So you can get the hell out of here and go back home.
What on earth?
Uh-oh. She's in there somewhere. Take me back to dear old Blighty. Uh-oh.
It's too many buttons. There we go.
They never had this problem in 1915.
There we go. Done, starring the Hun, summer in France today. Keeps fit, doing his bit, up to his eyes in clay. Each night after the fight to pass the time along, he's got a little gramophone that plays this song. Take me back to dear old Blighty, put me on the train for London town. Take me over there, drop me anywhere, Birmingham, Leeds or Manchester, well I don't care. I would love to see my best girl, cuddling up again we soon should be. Whoa! Diddly-diddly-idly, hurry me back to Blighty, Blighty is the place for me. Take me back to dear old Blighty, put me on the train for London town. Take me over there, drop me anywhere, Birmingham, Leeds or Manchester, well I don't care. I would love to see my best girl, cuddling up again we soon should be. Whoa! Diddly-diddly-I-T, hurry me back to Blighty. Blighty is the place for me. One day, Mickey O'Shea, out in a trench somewhere, so brave, having a shave, trying to part his hair. Mick yells, dodging the shells and lumps of dynamite. Talk of the Crystal Palace on a fireworks night. Take me back to dear old Blighty. Put me on the train for London town. Take me over there, drop me anywhere. Birmingham, Leeds or Manchester, well I don't care. I would love to see my best girl. Cuddling up again we soon should be. Whoa! Diddly-diddly-I-T, hurry me back to Blighty. Blighty is the place for me. Take me back to dear old Blighty. Put me on the train for London town. Take me over there, drop me anywhere. Birmingham, Leeds or Manchester, well I don't care. I would love to see my best girl. Cuddling up again we soon should be. Whoa! Diddly-diddly-I-T, hurry me back to Blighty. Blighty is the place for me.
Well, here's a song written by a Canadian. It's called Keep Your Head Down, Fritzy Boy. He wrote this in 1918 during the battle, one of the battles at Ypres. And the common name, of course, for the British soldier was a Tommy. Tommy Atkins, it came from a poem. And the common Brits would call the Germans Fritz, Fritzy. And but the officers, the British officers, called him Bosch, the Bosch. And that comes from caboche, which is cabbage head. So that's where they get the Bosch comes from. Bloody Bosch.
So this Lieutenant Gibbs-Rice came from where in Canada? Ontario.
London, I believe.
Was it London?
Yeah, somewhere around there.
Got it. Very good.
Guelph.
No, it was Guelph. Yeah, it was. Yeah, no, I think he actually was. So good. Okay. Over in the trenches, up to their eyes in clay, Billy and Jack and Jimmy and Joe are singing all the day. Oh, when they see a German sticking up his snout, they give him a chance to get out of France when they all shout, keep your head down, Fritzy boy, keep your head down, Fritzy boy. Late last night in the pale moonlight, I saw you, you were fixing your barbed wire when we opened rapid fire. If you want to see your father in the fatherland, keep your head down, Fritzy boy. Soon the Bosch got wiser, hearing this every night. He sent us a bunch of rifle grenades to give us all a fright. But he couldn't stop us, we let out a roar. We'll give you your fill of old Kaiser Bill and this damn war. Keep your head down, Fritzy boy. Keep your head down, Fritzy boy. Late last night in the pale moonlight, I saw you, you were fixing your barbed wire when we opened rapid fire. If you want to see your father in the fatherland, keep your head down, Fritzy boy. Keep your head down, Fritzy boy.
The greatest hit of 1915.
Now we're going to do another popular tune that you will all recognize, and do chime in. I had printed up words and I forgot to pass them out, but you'll recognize it all, so chime in. Now this is another English tune written by George Ass and Felix Howell, 1915, and then we follow into a tune that was actually written in the same year that these pants were made. These pants are 100 and something years old. So it was written on a bar bet by Jack Judge and Harry Williams. There were two guys that said, hey, I'll bet you a pint that I can write a pop tune faster than you can. I forget who won, but they both won. And I'm sure they bought each other plenty of pints afterwards, but you'll recognize that one. Chime in, I'm not going to tell you the title.
And of course it makes fun of the Irish.
Well, who else?
Bloody
Why not?
English. Bloody English. That's right.
Private Perks is a funny little codger with a smile, a funny smile. 5 feet none, he's an ugly little dodger with a smile, a funny smile. Flush or broke, he'll have his little joke. He can't be suppressed. All the other fellows have to grin when he gets this off his chest. I pack up your troubles in your old kit bag and smile, smile, smile. While you will Lucifer to light your bag, smile, boys, that's the style. What's the use of worrying? It never was worthwhile. So pack up your troubles in your old kit bag and smile, smile, smile. Private Perks went marching into Flanders with his smile, his funny smile. He was loved by the privates and commanders for his smile, his funny smile. When a throng of bushes came along, and with a mighty swing, Perks yelled out, this little bunch is mine, keep your heads down, boys, and sing. Aye, pack up your troubles in your old kit bag and smile, smile, smile. While you will Lucifer to light your bag, smile, boys, that's the style. What's the use of worrying? It never was worthwhile. So, pack up your troubles in your old kit bag and smile, smile, smile. It's a long way to Tipperary. It's a long way to go. It's a long way to Tipperary, to the sweetest girl I know. Goodbye to Piccadilly, farewell Leicester Square. It's a long, long way to Tipperary, but my heart's right there. Up to mighty London came an Irishman one day. As the streets were paved with gold, sure everyone was gay. We could say that back then.
Oh, we were too.
Singing songs of Piccadilly, Strand and Leicester Square, till Paddy got excited and he shouted to them there. It's a long way to Tipperary, it's a long way to go. It's a long way to Tipperary, to the sweetest girl I know. Goodbye, Piccadilly, farewell, Leicester Square. It's a long, long way to Tipperary, but my heart's right there. And he wrote a letter to his Irish Molly, saying, should you not receive it, please write and let me know. Remember, if I make mistakes in spelling, Molly, dear, said he. Remember, it's the pen that's bad, don't lay the blame on me. Oh, it's a long way to Tipperary, it's a long way to go. It's a long way to Tipperary, to the sweetest girl I know. Goodbye to Piccadilly, farewell Leicester Square. It's a long, long way to Tipperary, but my heart's right there. It's a long, long way hand. Give yourselves a hand. There you go.
Anyone who wasn't singing, we will see to it that Paul shows up at your house around 3 a.m. with that thing. He will play on your driveway so your neighbors will know.
Okay. All right, now we're going to have a little chaos for you here. Now, as we get this thing set up, there are a lot of references, like there are in all these tunes, to specific things. And one of these is the Handley page in this tune. Now, who knows what a Handley page is or was? Of course, my Uncle George, of which I would like to introduce my family, our biggest fans here. My mother, please stand.
We have to pay them a lot to be here.
I know. You'll get your check in the mail. And my aunt and Uncle George. Aunt Joan and Uncle George. I'm all tangled up here again.
Takes us a half an hour to get ready for this one.
So talking about the Handley page, and jeepers creepers, it's just endless. So the greatest thing that the war did for the U.S. economy was pump a lot of money into it, because we made a lot of weapons and a lot of armaments, aside from sending the men over. We've made tremendous profits. And from oil, Rockefeller Standard Oil was selling oil to the Germans right to the very, very last second. Standard Oil and the German sales were still on the Paris Stock Exchange, again, while the whole invasion and the whole conflict was going on. So the Romanian oil fields were pumping steadily. But let's get back to Handley Page. Made a lot of aircraft. And a lot of aircraft were made in New York and Grand Rapids, because what did we have in Grand Rapids? An awful lot of furniture companies. So, furniture companies figured out they could make planes out of panelboard. What do you call it?
Plywood. Plywood.
Yeah, plywood, but the
Laminated.
corrugated, not corrugated.
Lemonade.
Laminated. No, not laminated. What do we thank Home Depot for these days? Those panel boards, those cheap doors, those...
Oh, hollow core.
Hollow core, thank you very much. Yes, so wings are made...
That took my tongue.
Hollow core, I know exactly. Hollow core doors. And that's where we get hollow core doors from these days, from aircraft manufacturing back then. With that... and we're gonna sing this crazy tune. 1, 2, ready, go. First we have the sailor's wife, and she was dressed in blue. And in one corner of her funny little thing, she had a lifeboat crew. She had a lifeboat crew because the rowlocks and the oars. While in the other corner the Marines were doing for. She had the black and greeny eyes, and it was sang up for Jackson. She was one of the five girls gone to next we come to the soldier's wife, and she was dressed in black. And in one corner of her funny little thing, she had a Union Jack. She had a Union Jack, made boys, silver, white, and blue. While in the other corner the signals coming through, she had those dark and dreamy eyes. And it was sang up for Jackson. She was one of the last next we come to the airman's wife, and she was dressed in beige. And in one corner of her funny little thing, she had a Handley page. She had a Handley page, three boys, the engines on the prow. While in the other corner was an airman on the job. She had those dark and dreamy eyes, and it was bang up for Jackson. It was one of the last to come was an and she was dressed in red. And in one corner of her funny little thing, she had 100 dead. She had 100 dead, me boys, coffins there as well. Well, in the other corner there was Mary Bloody Hell. She had those dark and dreamy eyes, and it was bang up for Jackson. She was one of the last girls, and those dark and dreamy gleaming eyes, and a whiz-bang upper jacks. She was one of the finest girls ever. Look out, she's gonna blow!
That's his favorite part.
Of course, it was just
The
on
sailor's wife.
Sailor's wife?
Yeah, sailor's wife. A lot of those questions are best left unanswered about. She had a whiz-bang upper Jackson.
Yeah, pretty
Let's
much.
not go there.
A lot of things in these tunes that, just speak to your imagination.
Never did tell him what the Henry page was.
Oh, I'm sorry, it was the largest bomber of the war. It had a greater wingspan than a B-29. Can you imagine that? Cloth, metal, and wire, and you got a bunch of guys flying around in that thing. Holy mackerel. Oh man, we'll tell you a little Zeppelin story. Not Led Zeppelin. Well, it was a Led Zeppelin because they all got shot down. But yeah, Handley Page, biggest bomber, biggest plane of the war, bigger than a B-29. Imagine that. All right, we've got a tune here about the general. Tom, why don't you talk about Haig while I get rid of this thing?
General Haig. You always talk about Haig, but General Haig, it turns out, if I can remember what Paul's always talked about, he was a member of a brewing family, or a distilling family.
Whiskey.
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 Haig whiskey. And he gets a lot of the blame for the British waste of personnel in the Great War, because they said he was a great believer in cavalry and frontal charges and that type of thing, which he was to a large extent, but also later on he did embrace mechanized warfare and combined arms like aircraft and tanks and whatever, artillery.
So, this tune is about good old General Haig. Ready? Go. Good old General Haig had 30,000 men. He marched them up to the Pilgrim Ridge and he marched them down again. And when they were up, they were up. And when they were down, they were down. And the rest of the way, they're up to their balls in a sea of liquid brown. Oh, I'm on my way to Mendingham with a ticket home to Blighty. Why did they send us over here? Oh, Jesus Christ Almighty. And when they were up, they were up. And when they were down, they were down. And the rest of the time, they're up to their balls in a sea of liquid brown. And the rest of the time, they're up to their balls in a sea of liquid brown. Thank you.
That's it.
There's a lot more to it, but that's clean as
Those are the clean ones.
All right, our first program here is drawing to a close. First part of our program, and we're pretty much right on schedule. You'll all recognize this one. Chime in. And this was, here's our Zeppelin story. English tune, written by Ivor Novello, who wrote a lot of tunes. Look him up. Now, his lyricist on this was a New York woman who moved to London with her son after her divorce. And she teamed up with Ivor Novello and wrote a lot of his lyrics. Now, the sad part about Lena Gilbert Ford, she and her son were killed in the last Zeppelin raid on London, which 1916 or 17. It was sad, of course. But our Zeppelin story is, as Zeppelins were becoming inefficient weapons of war, but could you imagine guys defending, the German defenders of the Zeppelins, on top of those Zeppelins in little outcroppings and little cockpits, trying to shoot the fighters down so that they did not get shot down. Up in that altitude, no parachutes, out in the open, 10,000 feet. Holy mackerel. All around England were divots that they would find where the crews bailed out and just fell to their deaths. And then they would measure the depths in the soil as how far they sank. Oh, can you imagine that? Falling to your death.
They had a crew of something like 53 or 60.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Like it was crazy.
Everyone would die, of course, but anyhow. On that cheery note, summoned from the hillside. They were called in from the glen, and the country found them ready at the stirring call for men. Let no tears add to their hardship as the soldiers pass along. And although your heart is breaking, make it sing this cheery song. Keep the home fires burning while your hearts are yearning. Though your lads are far away, they dream of home. There's a silver lining through the dark clouds shining. Turn the dark cloud inside out till the boys come home. Overseas there came a pleading, help the nation in distress, and we gave our glorious laddies honor made us do no less. Oh, no gallant son of freedom to a tyrant's yoke should bend, and a noble heart must answer to the sacred call of friend. Keep the home fires burning while your hearts are yearning. Though your lads are far away, they dream of home. There's a silver lining through the dark cloud shining. Turn the dark cloud inside out till the boys come home. Turn the dark cloud inside out till the boys come home. Thank you. We are the Dugouts. Our music director, Lady Marilyn Hodeling. The voice, Thomas Patty Dooley. I'm your host, Tartanius Flynn. I thank you for being here. We're going to take a quick break, wet our whistle. We'll come back with the second half. Chris probably has an announcement or two, but here's my one commercial announcement, and one and only. This costs money to do. Fork it over. This is an expensive endeavor. We need to eat. So if you would be so kind, and if you think it's worthwhile, share a few dollars, we'd greatly appreciate it. So, and then our next program is November 11th. Okay, quiz. Everybody sharpen their pencil. Take out a sheet of paper, number it to 10. What is the important significance of November 11th? Bingo. We are at the South Lyon Library. South Lyon Library on that day. Again, about the same time, 2 to 4, or something like that. But if you're interested, take a card. We thank you very much. We'll be right back. Chris, do you have any announcements?
There's coffee and cake up in the cafe, so while they're taking a break, please feel free to wander up there, help yourself. We have restrooms back here and at the front of the museum as well.
It'll be a very short break.
Yeah, very short.
But we have locked the doors and we're gonna take your car keys too. You're going nowhere.
Thank you.
Go up, play them all.
Sure. Well, get it on film. So.
Huh? Oh, okay. That was for me.
Yep.
you want to start with?
Thank you.
That's how my dad got us out of bed for high school.
So many people today play trumpets for that, or now it's all recorded.
Yeah, that's the problem, it's all
The
recorded.
recording
Okay,
makes me.
Would you want
Very
to
few
do
people
that?
can do that
Yeah.
on a bugle. You don't see many bugles. You do all the calls?
Most of them.
Really?
I don't want to join the army. I don't want to go to war. I'd rather hang around Piccadilly Underground, living up the earnings of a high-class lady. I don't want him up the asshole. I don't want me bullocks shot away. I'd rather be in England, merry, merry England, and fornicate my bleeding life away. Lord blimey, I don't want to join the Navy. I don't want to go to sea. I'd rather hang around Piccadilly Underground, living off the earnings of a tidy typist.
Typist, you could do better than that, mate.
I don't need no Frenchy women. London's full of girls I've never had. I want to stay in Blighty, Lord God Almighty, following in the footsteps of me dad. Lord blimey, call out the Army and the Navy, call out the rank and file, call out the bloody territorials. They'll face danger with a smile. Lord blimey, call out the soldiers of the Queen's Marines, call out the King's artillery. So call out me mother, me sister and me brother, but for God's sake, don't call me. Quite an anti-recruitment tune. It's still popular today. We welcome you back. We are the Dugouts. Our music director, Lady Marilyn Hodeling. There we go. Thomas Patty Dooley. I'm your host, Tartanius Flynn. We thank you for returning.
Very much.
We thank you for attending and returning. That's
Well,
even more.
Uncle George and your mom.
Yeah, exactly. Here comes my mom.
Auntie Siobhan,
Yep,
they can't
yep.
help it.
I thank you, family. And this is also my cousin, Lynn. So, fantastic. All right. We are going to sing an American tune. This part of the program is going to be primarily American. And this is an Irving Berlin tune, but you may recognize him as Israel Bellin. Russian immigrant. Came over here when he was 3 or 5 or something like that, and realized his career was going to be in music. And he figured at his age, he would age out of the service. Nope, 4 months before he aged out, they grabbed him. So he was in the Army. So that was a problem. Now, he turned out to be such a lousy soldier, they just said, forget it. There's the piano, keep writing, start writing tunes, and we'll cart you around to different bases and you can play and entertain. He said, hey, I like that. So, this is one of his tunes. You should all recognize it, because it was a real popular one. And we won't tell you the title, because it's going to be really easy. And here comes our pianist again.
Be sure to enunciate when you say that.
Yes. I was born in Michigan, and I wish and wish again that I was back in the town where I was born. There's a farm in Michigan, and I'd like to fish again in the river that flows beside the field of waving corn. A lonesome soul am I, and here's the reason why. I want to go back, I want to go back, I want to go back to the farm, far away from farm, with the milk pail on my arm. I miss the roof one that used to wake me up at 4 a.m. I think your great big city's very pretty. Nevertheless, I want to be there. I want to see there a certain someone full of charm. That's why I wish again that I was in Michigan, down on the farm. I want to go back, I want to go back, I want to go back to the farm, far away from home, with the milk pail on my arm. I miss the rooster, the one that used to wake me up at 4 a.m. I think your great big city's very pretty. Nevertheless, I want to be there, I want to see there a certain someone full of charm. That's why I wish again that I was in Michigan, down on the farm. You can keep your cabarets where they turn nights into days. I'd rather be where they go to bed at 9. I've been gone for 7 weeks, and I've lost my rosy cheeks. That's the reason I'd rather have the country life for mine. My thoughts are far away, that's just why I say I want to go back, I want to go back, I want to go back to the farm, far away from home, with the milk pail on my arm. I miss the rooster, the one that used to wake me up at 4 a.m. I think your great big city's very pretty. Nevertheless, I want to be there, I want to see there a certain someone full of charm. That's why I wish again that I was in Michigan, down on the farm. I want to go back, I want to go back, I want to go back to the farm, far away from home, with the milk pail on my arm. I miss the rooster, the one that used to wake me up at 4 a.m. I think your great big city's very pretty. Nevertheless, I want to be there, I want to see there a certain someone full of charm. That's why I wish again that I was in Michigan, down on the farm. Thank you, Animal Corpse.
You're welcome.
Well, I did used to have a rooster that used to wake me up at 4 a.m. and all through the day he would never stop. It was fun to have a rooster.
He went very well with mashed potatoes, didn't he?
While Lynn is standing here, why don't we do How I Hate to Get Up in the Morning?
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Oops.
Oops. What's that oops?
As you pull the pin out of the grenade. Oops!
Yeah.
Where did I put it?
Shouldn't have done that.
Oops, wrong tune. Wrong grenade. Contact. Another Irving Berlin tune, dedicated to his bunkmate, Private Howard Friend. The other day I chanced to meet a soldier friend of mine. He'd been in camp for several weeks and he was looking fine. His muscles had developed and his cheeks were rosy red. I asked him how he liked his life and this is what he said. Oh, how I hate to get up in the morning. Oh, how I love to remain in bed. For the hardest blow of all is to hear the bugler call. You've got to get up, you've got to get up, you've got to get up this morning. Someday I'm going to murder the bugler. Someday they're going to find her dead. I'll amputate her heavily and spend the rest of my life in bed. Oh, how I hate to get up in the morning. Oh, how I love to remain in bed. For the hardest blow of all is to hear the bugler call. You've got to get up, you've got to get up, you've got to get up this morning. Oh boy, the minute the battle is over. Oh boy, the minute the foe is dead. I'll put my uniform away and move to Philadelphia and spend the rest of my life in bed. A bugler in the army is the luckiest of men. He wakes the boys at 5 and then goes back to bed again. He doesn't have to blow again till early afternoon. If everything goes well with me, I'll be a bugler soon. Oh, how I hate to get up in the morning. Oh, how I love to remain in bed. For the hardest blow of all is to hear the bugler call. You've got to get up, you've got to get up, you've got to get up this morning. Someday I'm going to murder the bugler. Someday they're going to find her dead. I'll amputate her reveille and step upon it heavily and spend the rest of my life in bed. Oh, how I hate to get up in the morning. Oh, how I love to remain in bed. For the hardest blow of all is to hear the bugler call. You've got to get up, you've got to get up, you've got to get up this morning. Oh boy, the minute the battle is over. Oh boy, the minute the foe is dead. I'll put my uniform away and move to Philadelphia and spend the rest of my life in bed. Thank you, Lynn Hollars. All right, Tom, why don't you pick one?
Okay, how's about Farewell to Nova
What I
Scotia?
was thinking.
Okay, Farewell to Nova Scotia. This is, Canadians actually had about the third largest navy in the world at the outset of the Great War, behind the British and the Germans. So this is a very common song. You hear it sung in all the Irish bars and Canadian bars and places that we frequent. And it's called Farewell to Nova Scotia. I always had a sneaking suspicion that it was a World War I song, and sure enough it is, about a Canadian lad who is a sailor, and his two brothers are already have been killed, as it says in one of the verses. Their arms are folded on their chests. The sun was setting in the west, the birds were singing on every tree. All nature seemed to be at rest, but alas there was no rest for me. Farewell to Nova Scotia, your sea-bound coast, at your mountains dark and dreary. For on our way out in the bright ocean tossed, will he ever heave a sigh or a wish for me? I grieve to leave my native home, I grieve to leave my comrades all, and my parents whom I hold so dear, and the bonny, bonny lass I do adore. Farewell to Nova Scotia, your sea-bound coast, that your mountains dark and dreary. For on our way out in the bright ocean tossed, will you ever heave a sigh or a wish for me? The drums to beat and the wars to alarm, my captain calls, I must obey. Farewell, farewell to Nova Scotia's charms, for it's early in the morning I am on our way. Farewell to Nova
Scotia, your sea mountain coast, that your mountains are, and drear I be. Or a line our way on the bright ocean tossed, they ever heave a sigh or a wish for me. I have two brothers and they are at rest, their arms are folded on their chests. But a poor simple sailor just like me must be tossed and be driven on the deep dark sea. Farewell Nova Scotia, your sea mountain coast, that your mountains dark and drear I be. For a mile our way on the bright ocean tossed, they ever heave a sigh or a wish for me. Farewell Nova Scotia, your sea mountain coast, that your mountains dark and drear I be. For a mile our way on the bright ocean tossed, they ever heave a sigh or a wish for me. Will he ever heave a sigh or a wish for me? That's why he is
And there you have it.
the voice.
Farewell to Nova Scotia.
This.
Now, we did bring some posters and items with us as well, which we'd like to share with you, especially a 1903 magazine cover from the judge, who is behind the photographer on the counter over there. Take a picture of that as well. It's from 1903, and it's a very prominent cover, so take a look at that. It's very interesting. And then I did bring some things over here that I can't discuss. Tom, say a few words. Animals.
Oh, animals. Oh, the horses. Back at the beginning of the Great War, 1914, a British infantry regiment actually had roughly 5,000 horses. That was an infantry regiment. Then you had cavalry, and of course you had all the veterinarians and the people that would had to feed them and shoe them and everything else. And there was a great slaughter of the animals, of horses, of course, in the Great War. Especially, there's a great song that I cannot do. It was written by Eric Bogle about the horses that the light horsemen used in the Holy Land, the Australians. There's 53,000 horses that left Australia that were brought over to the war in Europe and in the Palestine and the Middle East. And out of all those 53,000 horses, one horse was allowed to return. It was a general's favorite mount. And in Europe, the horses that weren't killed, the Aussies would give them to the local farmers and whatnot. But in the Middle East, they hated the way the Arabs treated their horses, and so the light horsemen, after Jerusalem fell in 1917, they decided to shoot their horses. So each man shot his mate's horse. It's quite an interesting story when you read about it, and there is a song about it that's god-awful.
More than 9 million animals, horses, mules, donkeys, were slaughtered in that conflict. 9 million. Nobody remembers that here, but in the Anzac nations of Australia, New Zealand, and such, they commemorate, they have a special day that they commemorate the animals every year, and I can't remember which one. Pick one.
The last long mile, and there's a long trail.
Can I do that?
Sure. Why not?
We're kind of picking and choosing here as we're running out of, we don't want to run too far past 2 hours. So we are going to do last long mile?
Yes, we'll do that. Okay. Yeah, we don't want anyone to miss the early bird special at the Beef Garber or
Golden Corral.
yeah, the Golden Corral, Ram's Horn.
Ram's Horn.
So we'd be in big trouble if we ran over time.
Ram's Horn cabbage soup is really good. So this is an American tune, 1918, written by Charles Hart, and you'll recognize this one as well. Chime in on the chorus. Oh, they put me in the army and they handed me a pack. They took away my nice new clothes and dolled me up in tack. They marched us 20 miles a day to fit me for the war. I didn't miss the first 19, but the last one made me sore. Oh, it's not the pack that you carry on your back, nor the Springfield on your shoulder, nor the 5-inch crust of coffee-colored dust that makes you feel your limbs are growing older. And it's not the hike on the hard turnpike that wipes away your smile, nor the socks of sisters that raise up blooming blisters. It's the last long mile. Someday they'll send us over there, they'll put us in the trench, taking pot shots at the Fritzies with the Tommies and the French. And someday we'll be marching through a town across the Rhine, and then you bet we'll all forget these mournful words of mine. Oh, it's not the pack that you carry on your back, nor the Springfield on your shoulder, nor the 5-inch crust of coffee-colored dust that makes you feel your limbs are growing older. And it's not the hike on the hard turnpike that wipes away your smile, nor socks of sisters that raise up blooming blisters. It's the last long mile. Put us on the Salt Spring hike and handed us a pack. They took away our nice new clothes and dolled us up in tack. They marched us 20 miles a day to fit us for the chore. We didn't mind the first 19, but the last one made us sore. Oh, it's not the pack that you carry on your back, nor the Springfield on your shoulder, nor the 5-inch crust of coffee-colored dust that makes you feel your limbs are growing older. And it's not the hike on the hard turnpike that wipes away your smile, nor the socks of sisters that raise up blooming blisters. It's the last long mile, nor the socks of sisters that raise up blooming blisters. It's the last long mile. Thank you.
And just in case you're wondering what they meant about the blisters, apparently when the women would knit their socks for the soldiers, there was a way they had of tying it off so that when it ended up with a bulge, and so when the men wore the socks, that would cause the blisters.
So the remedy to that, I kept mislabeling it as the Hague stitch. Oops, no, it's called the Kitchener stitch, and every knitter is familiar with that tie-off. It eliminates the knot. Kitchener was not a knitter. Somebody did it for him, but he took all the credit. So we're going to wind up. We're going to sing, Last Long Trail. There's a trail, you know the tune.
Oh, that other one.
Yeah, that we should go over there and then the spring 1990.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
And, yeah.
Okay. All right, well, we're going to do, this is one that was written in 1915 about a soldier who was missing his mates, and it was recorded by John McCormick. Some of you might have this. He recorded it on June 7th, 1917. It's not in my collection. Maybe someone's.
It was definitely top 10.
Yes,
Top 10 at the time.
the greatest hits.
On the hit parade.
This is called There's a Long, Long Trail a-Winding. Nights are growing very lonely, days are very long. I'm growing weary only, listening for your song. Old remembrances are thronging through my memory, till it seems the world is full of dreams just to call you back to me. There's a long, long trail winding unto the land of my dreams, where the nightingales are singing and the white moon beams. There's a long, long night of waiting until my dreams all come true, till the day when I'll be going down that long, long trail with you. All night long I hear you call. calling everywhere I go. Oh, the road between the stretches, many a weary mile. I forget that you're not with me yet when I think I see you smile. There's a long, long trail winding to the land of my dreams, where the nightingales are singing and the white moon beams. There's a long, long night of waiting until my dreams all come true. 'Tis the day that I'll be going down that long, long trail with you. Till the day that I'll be going down that long, long trail with you. Thank you. It's called There's a Long, Long Trail. Thank you. George M. Cohan wrote this next one. Georgie M. He, one of his many, and you see Jimmy Cagney, of course, doing it on some vastly overproduced thing in black and white, sometimes on the movie channel.
Or Jimmy Kimmel.
Jimmy Kimmel does it.
Late night.
Over There.
You'll recognize this one. Everyone chime in. Johnny, get your gun, get your gun, get your gun. Take it on the run, on the run, on the run. Hear them calling you and me, every son of liberty. Hurry right away, no delay, go today. Make your daddy glad to have had such a lad. Tell your sweetheart not to pine, to be proud her boy's in line. Over there, over there, send the word over there. That the Yanks are coming, the Yanks are coming, the drum coming everywhere. Say prepare, say a prayer, send the word to beware. We'll be over, we're coming over, and we won't come back till it's over there. Johnny, get your gun, get your gun, get your gun. Johnny, show the Hun who's a son of a gun. Hoist the flag and let her fly. Yankee Doodle, do or die. Pack your little kid, show your grit, do your bit. Yankee to the ranks, from the towns and the tanks. Make your mother proud of you, and the old red, white, and blue. Over there, send the word over there. That the Yanks are coming, the drum drumming everywhere. So prepare, say a prayer, send the word to beware. We'll be over, we're coming over, and we won't come back till it's over there. We'll be over, we're coming over, and we won't come back till it's over there. Thank you. We're going to wrap up our part of the program here with a very special tune that was new to us when we first started this, but it's very, very good. It is a modern tune, by the way. It's written past decade. Up to you. Straighten that out, soldier. See?
I do believe
Yeah.
Your helmet is crooked.
Yes, straighten out, soldier.
Oh, sorry. I'm gonna walk kilter no matter what.
There we go.
This tune is called Spring 1919, as the farmers and everyone returned to the ground that was torn to pieces by the war. And the realization that life had to continue or pick themselves back up again and continue on from what was left for them.
Who are the guys that wrote this? Because I cannot remember.
Old Larry and Curly? No.
Yeah,
it's
really. Well, I'll remember later on. But indeed, we are the Dugouts. Our music director, Lady Marilyn Holdling, Thomas Patty Dewey, Dewey, yeah. Dewey won the election somewhere along the line. I've been your host, Tartanius Flynn. We thank you for the attendance today. We thank you very much. We thank you for your generous contributions. We're playing again November 11th. We all know that date in South Lyon. And then we're looking for a Christmas program to put on because we have our Christmas in the Trenches program. So we're looking around for someplace for that. So very good. With that said,
without further ado. The longest night of darkest dreams heralds the new tomorrow. The morning light of bright sunbeams can only soften sorrow. From deepest winter's harshest cold, there comes a hint of warming gold, and spring returns with tales untold, the frozen earth to borrow. Where winter's snow has barely gone, a snowdrop proudly glistens. The robin sings its joyful song, if only you would listen. And fractured earth is turning green, where only brown and red were seen. Agony has turned serene, where sanity went missing. The farmer looks to find his home among the fields of battle. He cannot sing to mark his word, nor even call his cattle. His only comfort is the sky, which stays the same as years go by. But through the tears that dim his eye, the misty cannons rattle. Heroes return to foreign lands, have memories to smolder. They'll turn their hands to peaceful work, not like their lonely brother, who worked with gas and shows them how. Each time he yokes his careful plow, and with the sweat of his own brow, he'll venture to recover. In Flanders Fields the poppies grow as part of every season. Through winter's blasts the wounds still show, as if there was a reason to show the world that hid in pain that spring would come and cold again. But underneath the scars remain and will for generations. The longest night of darkest dreams heralds a new tomorrow. The longest night of darkest dreams heralds a new tomorrow. The longest night of darkest dreams heralds a new tomorrow.
thank you. All rise. Attention! Thank you. Thank you all for coming. Oh, come on. Oh, go on. Well, come on, go on. Come on. Thank you again.
You guys are welcome to stay in the room and take a last look at our exhibit. We will come around and take the chairs, but other than that, you can, and feel free to look at the museum.
Excellent work.
So the words that you're saying when you want the song are made up.
Oh, you just figured that one out?
No, because you sang the song, I was waiting for the